30 plus speakers as well. So yeah, so this is the highlight of our previous year. I'll just play the audio.
Oh, it's all right, Ragini. It's just
Okay,
a
yeah.
couple of speaker
So
events that have happened in the past. You can go ahead.
yeah, so for the previous year, we had we organized 10 plus speaker sessions, and we introduced a program which was one of the highlight of our year, which was the Student Success Program. In our program, we had around 150 plus registrations, and we were able to accommodate 150 students as well because of our buddies and the mentors that we had. So in the program we had in the program it included a buddy program, we had resume review, we had interview prep, we shared multiple resources, various ebooks to our students, and then we had mentorship from our industry experts as well. Last but not the least, we had our very first product hackathon. So as you can see in the pictures, these are for part of the product hackathon, as well as we had our TPB Alumni Connect, where few of the alumni showed up, and then it was more of a like speed speed networking event. So that was one of the highlights of the previous semester. And so moving on to the next slide. So this is the roadmap for spring 2024. First event, which is today, that is introduction to product management. Next event, we have case study where we'll uh, talk about case studies, how to break down various cases and how to work on it. So yeah, and the next one is our Figma workshop and design challenge, where we'll have a workshop for a few hours, and then we will provide the challenge so that you can work on it. And then after a week, we'll announce the winners, and you'll have like a cash prize as well as mentorship session from Lakshmi. So moving on to the last one, that is the discussion. It is a collaboration event with one of the other clubs, which is called Project Management Club, and the date is yet to be decided, and we'll share more details over that one. Yeah, so I just wanted to highlight this. So a huge shout out to each and everyone here. So like they did an amazing job last year, so we are trying to continue as well as excel even more for our club. So I just wanted to highlight this, and thank you. I'll just stop sharing now. And so yeah, so I think I'll hand over to Prateek now.
Thanks, Ragni. Hi, everyone. Okay, let me share my screen. And let me just minimize everything else. the, the drawback of having too many screens. Let me know if you can see them.
Yes, we can see.
All right, perfect. So, hey everyone, welcome to this session. We will be talking about more about product management, introduction. So I usually like to keep it more informal. We'll probably talk more about the experiences from my career and keeping with the consistent theme, right? I always believe that product management is simple um, as long as the foundations are there. So we'll probably touch more on the foundation. I'll be sharing a lot of stories from my career so far. And yeah, so this I always call like product management nothing but chaos meets creativity. Because again, without chaos, there's nothing exciting in life, and there's a lot of coffee involved as part of your job. So let's move forward. Let me. Okay. So what this session would be, right? I think I've broken down into like I'll talk about my career so far, then we'll briefly go over the product management one-on-one, then what are some skill sets, and I think probably the interview preparation. That's always any student's top of the mind, and we'll probably spend probably 20 minutes of my time answering any Q&A as well as live audience questions. Okay, moving forward. So who is this guy? Okay, so let me tell you a bit about myself. Hi everyone, I'm Prateek Khamesra. I have more than almost a decade of experience. Shit, now I feel old. But in nutshell, I have an electrical engineering from Bangalore University in India, and I have my master's degree from Johns Hopkins in engineering management. My career has been, I've done a lot of different roles in my career. Started my career as a software engineer with Infosys back in India. Then after grad school, spent few years as a business analyst with McKinsey in their financial consulting division. A few years as a consultant, transition into product management with Chase, where I worked on Chase Pay. And then currently I'm a product management in the installment team in the Mastercard. Apart from that, on personal level, I used to be a professional salsa dancer. I still dance, but not as much as I used to. And I also have a passion for personal finance and travel page. It's sort of like my pandemic hobby. So, what are some of the products that I have launched in Mastercard? So, in case anyone of you seen, has anyone seen Apple Pay Later in their wallet? If yes, that's something that I launched last year with collaboration with Apple. So if you don't like it, you exactly know whom to blame for the experience. So that's one of the products that I have launched, as well as if anyone has SoFi, the SoFi installments is something that we launched last year. Right now, my role is focused on building new functionality as we're launching the installment platform into the international markets. I've been in this role for almost 1.5 years. Oh, sure, I think there was an echo. And previously, within Mastercard, I also worked on the tokenization, so which is nothing but your Apple Pay. So the Apple Pay, Google Wallet, Samsung Wallet, all these wallets is something that I worked on. Thanks, Rani, for muting everyone. So yeah, and something cool that I worked in is something called Amazon One. So in case you go to Whole Foods, you see these weird little devices where you scan your palm and make a biometric payment. I also want to work on this cool project for Amazon One, so which is enabling payments using your biometric like palm. So that was pretty cool project that I worked with Amazon. So as you can see, my work involves not only payments but also collaboration with a lot of um, stakeholders. So Mastercard sits very interestingly. We are not B2C like most of the companies that you hear about, like Google, Meta, or Apple. They have products for customers. For us, we are B2B company where our customers are your banks, someone like Apple, Amazon, or a fintech player like Klarna, SoFi. So those are our customers. So a lot of our products are made for the customers. So it's very different experience altogether. And I'll share more stories about my career. What are some challenges that we face as a platform company? So that's not only I've done. So I have more product experience. Some of the cool stuff that I've done is also on the Chase side. So I did spend almost 3 years as a product management with Chase. So in case anyone does banking on Chase, they have seen Chase offers. That's something that I started from ideation to execution. So it's like my 1.5 years of labor love. So Chase offers something that I have launched, which allows consume millions of Chase customers to add Chase offers and um, get some benefit out of using their Chase cards. I also worked on a KYC platform that was kind of a boring for Chase Digital Bank, but Chase offers was something that I really loved working on when I was part of Chase. So I worked with Chase for almost 3.5 years as a product management on the Chase team. Any questions on my product experience so far before we dive into the nitty-gritty of product?
So, Pratik,
Yes.
I'm audible?
Yeah, you are. Go on.
Yeah, thank you for this, like the intro. But I have a question on the like you have experience on the like technical side or is kind of the like, management side of kind of stuff. Can you
So
just
I'm more of
elaborate
a
on this?
yeah. So every time like so usually even products code like if you think about right, there's a TPM which is technical product manager, and then I'm product manager. So if you think about right, there are different terminologies. So technical product management, if you look at the spectrum of product management, is more closer to the engineering side. So that person responsible for writing feature level requirements, while product management is you more focused on overall bridging the gap, as well as more toward the execution from ideation to the execution. And then there's also product marketing manager, which is more towards the sales side on the go-to-market side. So I'm more of a product
Got
management,
it,
which is
got it.
responsible for ideation to execution.
Okay, thank you for
Okay.
this.
Ah,
Thank you.
No
Yeah.
worries.
how did you land into banking? Uh,
That's a good question. So banking, I think it probably, I would say luck by chance, to be
okay.
very candid about you. So the experience, so in my consulting experience with McKinsey, my focus was the role that I was hired was in financial division. So that was the unit that was hired in McKinsey. So most of our clients were Fortune 500 financial institutions. So most of my experience in McKinsey was very much the studies, the engagements that we did with were financial institutions. Can't tell you the names, but think about all the banks that you have done. So that experience definitely gave the foundation transition into banking. Okay, I'll take more questions. Let me go to the product management. I don't want to spend too much time on. So we'll move forward. I do have some stuff to cover. So this is always the you might have heard like product managers are the CEO. I think I've heard this dialogue every time I talk to someone who eagerly wants to learn about product management. Let me break the you are not really the CEO. I wish I was CEO and getting those incentives like or RSU, but that's not the reality. I definitely like to call the story of any product manager as a bridge between the engineering team and the customer. Your customer could be someone like Apple, Amazon, or it could be internal stakeholders. So it could vary on what kind of product you have. So product manager role is very much customized. It could probably be and the culture also varies from company to company. So in a very nutshell, you're sitting in the middle. So you have to keep the engineering team happy. At the same time, you have to keep your stakeholders happy. And also you're responsible for cleaning up the mess in case there is any, which always is, trust me. What they show you the happy part is always not true. There's never a happy story. So moving forward, we'll be spending more time on the responsibility on this section. I think this is something that I'll probably sharing more experience on this one. So if you think about right, a lot of um, there's no random order to this. Like I'm gonna just briefly talk about some of the stuff. Like the first pillar that I always talk about is product strategy, right? As a product manager, right, you're definitely responsible for the strategy. What is your vision, right? And in a most of the big organization, it's mostly top down. Um, the vision comes from the CEO to your president to the vice president to your division head. So that's how it trickle down. But at the end of the day, what does it mean, right? End of the day, for me, it's about scaling installments program, right? And then the objective could be getting 10 million revenue or 15 million revenue or getting 20 new different customers on my platform. And that's very important in defining your product strategy. So once you have your North Star defined, your strategy would basically align around how do you make sure that that vision is being achieved. So all your strategy would basically be aligned to the product vision. Now, there's definitely a lot of market research, like any product is incomplete without spending a lot of time on market research. It's for us, it's checking what Visa is doing or Discover is doing, or what is other competitors are doing. Like, so you have to keep an eye on what is happening in the landscape, whether it's the payments landscape, or it could also be something like customer needs. Like a lot of times, I think this has always happened. Like there's always an assumption from product management that, okay, this is a requirement that I think the customer needs. A story that I can probably count, right? Like I could probably build an amazing feature for a product functionality, but there's no customer demand for it, then I just wasted the company's resources building something that does not have any demand. So it's always important to do market research and market validation. So what we do at Mastercard is that whenever we have a, let's say, an ideation that we are planning to build, we usually sign an NDA with the customer and we take feedback from them like, hey, this is a functionality that we are trying to build. Is this something that you would use? And what are the feedback that you can provide? So along with our sales and account team, we get those feedback and then we try to incorporate those feedback into product development. Now, once we have those feedback incorporated, then it's more about like product development where you probably would have an ideation and then you probably go about writing requirements, creating Epic and AHA, Jira, and all those things, and writing those features from what are the requirements to the ground level user stories that engineering team can develop. In a nutshell, like product development is all about writing those requirements and collaborating with engineering team to build those features. Example that could be I can talk about now is public is Amazon One. So if you Google Amazon One program, or if you ever walk into Whole Foods and you decide to make a payment, next to the POS terminal, you might see a gadget for your palm. So for that, we basically wrote the requirement along with Amazon and build those features. So how that terminal can use your biometric palm to take payment instead of your credit card. Now, once this is done, it's all happy, right? The biggest struggle is roadmap. Um, Being very realistic, right? There's always limitation in capacity. I could build the best ship I want, but that's not reality, right? There's always engineering capacity. There's always budget constraint. Um, there's always you would have to prioritize it. You can't have everything in the roadmap. So there's always one to end list, and there's different methods that we use in prioritization. We can talk more about it, but it's all about aligning your goals with the vision and what is the most important need for the customer. Now, once the roadmap is there, right? There's a lot of cross-functional alignment. Like there is no manager which does not talk to the product manager. Like let me tell you one thing. Like for example, my product is constantly dependent on other teams, and I need to constantly align my roadmap with their roadmap. An example that I can talk about, right? For example, when I was building the a feature for Apple Pay, there was a dependency that was there on the billing team. So I would have to work with the billing team, product manager to make sure that when we are doing the work, they are also prioritizing the same requirements on their roadmap. And we are deploying the product code functionality at the same time. So there's a lot of cross-functional alignment, not just with the different product teams, but different stakeholders. It could be marketing team, it could be legal, or don't even get me started on legal. It could be engineering team, it could be anything to do with your go-to-market team. So there's a lot of cross-functional dependency that's always there in a product manager's role. Or it could be the ops team, go-to-market strategy. Without a customer, there is no product. Like you can't scale a product without customers. So you have to collaborate with your go-to-market lead to basically to sell a product. So what they do is they help in executing, but they're responsible from pricing, marketing campaign, getting feedback from the customers, and launching the product and getting more customers, whether it's getting more issuers on our installments program, or getting a new requirement from Apple or from Amazon. So those go-to-market strategies is very vital for any product success. Now, the KPIs, right? So that's very important from the health perspective. It's very important to track the product success. Like that's the first thing that any executive or any product manager look for is the how is your product performing? Because you have to have metrics to track your product. For example, in the payments world, we always track the approval rate, volume, how much transactions is happening, for which category it is happening. So we have all those dashboards built in Tableau, and we constantly monitor them, and reporting is being done, which is constantly shared at the executive level to get more insight into how the product is performing. And based on that, you make decisions. So that's not only customer feedback, that's always important when we get feedback from the customers, especially important for building new features. But at the same time, the KPIs also tell us the story that we want. What are some of the new features that we want to build for customers? I know there's a lot of information. I'll probably pause for a second because I gave you a lot of data dump here. I'll pause for some of the questions on this particular topic because this is a lot of crux of what our product managers do on day-to-day job. Wow, no question. That's was I that clear? I was expecting a few questions here, but so everyone is clear on what are the key responsibility of a product manager. Okay.
Hi Prateek, Priyanka here.
Yes.
So I
Yes. Hey,
wanted to
Priyanka.
ask you, you said that you do market research and you
Mhm.
usually reach out to your customers. So you do
Yep.
a sort of A/B testing or something of that sort? Or
So
how does
that's a
that
good
go
question.
around?
So obviously, A/B testing is sometimes the idea of A/B testing is you have two different features and you get feedback, right? So you can always do. There's a lot of prototype to like envision that you can use for A/B testing. We don't develop something. It could be just a UX experience that we're showing to the
Hmm.
customers, and then they can say, okay, they like um, A or B, or which is the flow that we have. A lot of times, what we do is we make them sign an NDA. Obviously, we don't want our customers to go and talk to Visa or any other competitor about our idea. And
Hmm.
usually it's done on a very, I would say, friendly-ish customers. So the customers that we have worked in the past and they have always given us feedback. So those are the customers that we go for market research. The idea is not to the main reason is that when we want to build a product, right, we want to make sure there is a constant demand. And the
Hmm.
demand can only happen when we incorporate those feedback into, especially when it's at the requirement stage. So we can incorporate those requirements when we're building out those features.
Got it. Thanks, Prateek.
Okay, so I do see in a question from Elizabeth on the transition from business analyst into product management. Okay, that's a good question. So the experience from consulting to product management, right? Um, I'll tell you a good story here. I talked about how I landed in product management was purely bad luck. Back in 2017, product management was not a thing. Being very honest, like back in, not everyone wants to be a product manager. Back in those days, product management was still in its initial stage. I was in McKinsey in for a consulting project in New York. Met a friend for drinks. He used to work in Chase, and I was just scribbling over drinks how I hate traveling for consulting. And he told me, why don't you apply in Chase? So I applied to 4 roles in Chase. 3 was strategy role, 1 was product role. I think the answer is very clear. I ended up getting a call from a product role, and so it was luck by chance. I did not really plan getting into product management. It just happened naturally. But the skill sets that I got from the consulting, right? Like being very analytical, problem solving, quick thinking, quick learning skills, or telling a good story. I think that's very important as a product manager. Those are the skill sets that I always leverage, even continue to leverage, that I'm thankful that I learned from my time in McKinsey. Okay, so I think what are some of the okay, so what are some of the product launch barrier? So I think there's definitely a lot of product launch barriers, right? You can you can always talk about go to market, like you can have customers, or there could be challenges that you might be late into the game. Like for example, if you launched a product, you may not have customers that are anticipated, as if you are not able to have the product in the rightly manner, or if the competitor has already launched a compelling feature, you might be late in the game. On definitely technical background does help, like understanding code, how it works, writing a SQL query. This is answer to Shruti's question, that how technical background, that definitely gives you some advantage when in the interview, because it, in my opinion, you should at least be able to understand what's the problem, because a lot of times your technical challenges when you're discussing with the engineering lead is around technical. Like if someone is talking about API, you at least should be able to expect to learn, read the API specs and talk about what the API does, so that there's more in fruitful discussion with the engineering when they're writing the requirements. I don't expect you to write a code, but at least the expectation is to know how to read a code as well as to understand what it does. So we'll be talking about some of the tools in the next slide, and this is a question about the collaboration tool as well as some of the leadership strategies. Yeah, I will be talking more about that as well. Any questions on the audience before I dive into next section?
Hey Prateek, Aditya this side.
Hi,
Okay, we'll go one by one. We'll just focus on the people first. Maybe let's start with Santoshi. You can go on. Then we'll go to Aditya and then Manoj.
Hi, Prateek. This is Nikita here.
Oh, sorry, Nikita, go on.
So yeah, I had doubts regarding how KPIs help in the responsibilities of a product manager, because mostly KPIs are handled by marketing analysts, right?
Okay.
I'm not really aware of how that helps in a product manager's period. Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you a very simple question, right? When you go, forget product management. When you go to a doctor, right? The doctor always tells you to run a test, and then
Yes.
they see the test results and then they diagnose it.
Hmm.
Now let's take the same
Perform.
analogy. Yes, let's say the same analogy in product life, right? In this case, how do you if there's an issue in your product, what are the things that you would look? You have to rely on those KPIs to help you understand what are the issues, how the product is doing, what is the health of the product. The same thing, the same principle that is applied. A doctor looks at the test results of your body and give diagnoses you with the medicine. The same diagnosis is also done by a product manager by looking at the KPIs. So definitely there's a, I'm not saying product managers are someone who builds, it varies from company to company. In Mastercard, we have a data engineering team that helps us build the dashboard, but we are the one who would tell them what the dashboard needs. What are the KPIs that I'm looking for? An exact example I can talk about is, let's say my product, for example, Apple Pay Later, um, which is live right now. I'm looking at what is every week volume in the how much growth we are seeing in the transaction volume in the Apple Later program. What are the merchants where people are spending most of their money on? What is the installments period? What are the failures? Why the transaction is getting failed? So those are the things that helps us identify, and then we go and look into the issues and try to like solve them.
Okay. That
So
helps.
KPI
Thank you.
KPI is very important to just get the overall health of the product. Okay.
Something like a report.
Yeah, something like a report, like report card when we used to do as a kid.
Thank you.
No problem. Aditya, yes.
Yeah, hey Prateek, Aditya this side.
Sure.
Actually, I wanted to know if is it a product manager's job to decide TAM, and if it is so, what are the key factors you keep in mind to decide a TAM?
Sorry, can you
Total
repeat
addressable,
that? Okay,
total
so
addressable market.
obviously as a product manager, right? It's, you have to define it, but it's not something that, so think in this way. You can define a TAM, right? but it's mostly forecasting and forecasting, as it says, right? It's a number that you work with the finance team. So you work with your finance partner to address what is the revenue forecast, what is the time, what is the projection that you would expect. Definitely market research does help you, but that's always a forecasted number. I can never predict the future as long as I wish I could, but that's not how the life works. So it's always an approximation, especially on time.
Okay, thank you. I think I got my answer. Thank you.
No worries. Maybe Manoj next.
So yeah, my main doubt regarding again coming to the KPI, like
Mhm.
how would you get down to the main KPIs? Like if we got a 6 or 7 parameters for a certain scenario or a certain
Mhm.
product, in your experience, how do you get down to 2 or 3 main KPIs which you think it pays you off in a long run? How do you decide that in a firm level or a higher scale?
So we have dashboard, very interactive dashboard, which drills down like to transaction level information. And don't worry, I don't see anyone's transaction, so don't worry where you spend money. That's always confidential. It's a PI data, but it helps us define. So again, the reports are generated, right? At an executive level, let's break it down. Right? An executive will see how much volume am I seeing on the Apple Pay Later program? What is the volume? They would look at the bird's eye view. But as a product manager for that product, I need to go drill down and what are some issues? Like an example, if a transaction is getting failed, what is the reason why the transaction is getting failed? And is there something that is an issue at the Mastercard level that I need to do to make sure that the transaction is not getting failed in the future? So all those informations, you get a picture from the dashboards, but then you have to do some more deep analysis to basically drill down to the problem. Hope that helps. Or in case you want more example, I can go on. Okay,
I think
probably
Manoj, you're
I'll
talking on
move.
mute. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll
I thought he
probably
was
move
talking.
forward. I think
Yeah.
Abhishek, I'll probably take your question in the
Oh,
next
sorry,
pause.
I was on mute. Sorry, my bad.
No
Yeah,
worries.
but I got the answer. Yeah, thank
Okay,
you for this.
let's move to the next section. I definitely want to spend more time there as well. All right, so moving forward, thanks. These are all interesting questions to keep asking them. So let's talk about the I think someone asked in the chat what are the tools that we use. So again, this varies from companies to companies, right? This is very specific to Mastercard. There are a lot of tools that we use, right? That includes AHA, which helps us to manage our roadmap. For designing and wireframing, we work with our UX team. We use Figma and InVision. A lot of times we use Jira and Rally for project management at Mastercard. Data visualization is done through Tableau and Domo. Mostly not Tableau. We are moving more towards the Tableau. We use Confluence and Teams for a lot of collaboration, writing requirements, and giving requirements to the engineering team. For analytics, we use something called an Oracle database called Enterprise Reporting and Alteryx. So these are some of the tools that I use at Mastercard as a product manager. Oracle is basically nothing but a SQL Toad where we write SQL query in case you want to drill down into that. But I think the most important thing that I believe as a product manager is to craft a compelling story, whether it's in PowerPoint or Word document for executive and your senior stakeholders. Because without a story, you were never a success story or a failure. You have to have your executives in line. That's very important as a product manager. Without a good story, your product would not scale. Moving forward, what are some superpowers? Like, I believe there are a lot of superpowers that you need as a product manager, but these are some key that I feel personally top three that I believe. A problem solving, like you definitely need to identify and address challenges. Like last week, I was dealing a customer escalation due to transaction failure. So we had to basically drill down, made sure what was the reason, and solve the problem and with a resolution and de-escalate that problem. You would need to do a lot of analytical thinking. Like I always talk about KPIs, because KPIs helps you to analyze those data and make informed decisions. That will help you to improve your product utilization. Example that I recently solved, we figured there was a particular reason why there was a lot of transaction declining at for a particular merchant. So we work with that merchant to increase the approval rate for that particular transaction, so that we couldn't identify the problem without KPIs in place. Now, communication, I'm a big believer, like whether it's verbal or written, you need to be very clear in your communication. You need to articulate your problem, solution, requirements to cross-functional teams, and make sure that everyone is clear on your North Star vision and your requirements are crystal clear, especially when you're giving the requirements to the engineering team, because once the code has been written, you can't undo it. You can probably go back and change it, but it will require another release in Agile, and it will not make engineering. So it's always better to make sure that your requirements are crystal clear when engineering team is doing the implementation and execution. Something that I believe documentation is very important. And you do spend a lot of times in meetings as a product manager. That's reality talk. I spend half of my day in meetings. So time management is very important to keep your sanity in check. So I think those are some of the underrated skill sets that you need as a product manager. The next section will probably focus more on how to secure a PM job, right? Let's be real. I'm not gonna sugarcoat you. It's a tough job market, right? Especially for international students. It's not how it is. Given the economic situation that we are, the whole macroeconomics is not as favorable that it used to be. So it's a tough job market. It is what it is. There's not much you can do except prepare well. Prepare well for your interview. If you get an interview call, make sure you have 5 to 6 compelling behavioral stories in place. Play on your strength. If you have experience, talk from your experience. If you don't have experience, talk about some of the coursework that you might have taken on a product, or you might have done some product work. Use that to tell a good story. Then has as many as mock interviews as you can. You'll surprise how much mock interviews help in any experience. At least I would recommend record yourself so that you understand how you're acting when you're on Zoom, because nowadays everything is Zoom. So you want to make sure that you're well prepped and at least have mock interviews done. Always ask questions whenever I'm an interview panel. It's always good when people have done their research on the companies and ask relevant business questions. And sometimes talk about your passion. You might be something passionate about, something in your life. It's always good to talk about your passion. Um, LinkedIn is your new best friend. I would say network as much as you can through LinkedIn. Tap into your alumni network. Let's be real. You have more chances of UT Dallas alumni replying to your LinkedIn request than someone from, let's say, Johns Hopkins like me. So definitely reach out to your alumni and network with them and talk to them how you can. The more you talk to them, understand their role, the more you will understand what a PM does and helps you get a referral. Definitely goes a long way in the hiring process. So you want to make sure that you reach out to your alumni or people through LinkedIn to get that job, internship, or full-time offer. Network as much as you can, whether it's the networking events or conferences, and always have, um, when you send a LinkedIn request, do add 1 or 2 blurb in that message. Don't send a blank LinkedIn message request, and make your profile creative. People don't make it attractive, so that you at least someone can grab your profile title or something. They should be catchy, so someone get attention what you're doing. Especially, no one is gonna go and read your profile. It has to be very short, crisp. I believe in the power of persistence. Apply to as much job for internship as you can. For my summer internship, which is like almost 7 years back, I applied to more than 600 application. True story. I only got handful of call back. Most of them were auto reply rejections. That's going to happen. But remember, you just need one job offer. So don't be disheartened. It is what it is, but keep applying because you just remember you just need one internship offer. In the interest of time, I'm probably gonna talk this section very quickly. Usually, a typical PM interview looks like 6 or 7 rounds, where the focus is on the behavioral first 2 rounds with the recruiter or the hiring manager. There's usually a product case study. Then there's a technical round with the engineering manager to know your technical. You're not supposed to do coding, but just to understand your technical knowledge. Then again, behavioral rounds or case study with the peer or engineering leader. That's a typical PM interview at the Mastercard. Um, I'm gonna move to the Q&A in just in the interest of time.
Yes, so we already like have few questions, so I'll just
Sure.
ask them first because we ask
Mhm.
students beforehand, like if they have any questions. So I'll just talk about it. So the first one is, how does product management differ from product marketing management?
Mhm. So a product manager sits more in the middle, while a product marketing manager is more towards the go-to-market strategy. So they, as a product management, you're more responsible towards implementation. You're more responsible for execution, writing the requirements, while a marketing is more towards sales material, going to the customers and selling their product.
Okay. The second one was,
Mhm.
what distinguishes the roles of a product manager and a product owner?
So there's definitely a lot of overlap. Like obviously, a product manager is more responsible for the strategy implementation, while a owner is typically a license between me and uh, engineering counterpart. Right now, I see a lot of product owner and product manager role being merged. So typically, how I see is product owner role getting more merged into product manager. That's how the industry is evolving now. Typically, a product manager is now playing the hat of a product owner, especially in the agile environment.
Okay, so the third one was, if you were an aspiring product manager
Mhm.
today, how would you strategically prepare for success in securing a PM role at a large company?
So that I think it depends on where you are and where you stand in terms of experience. If you are a fresher, then the rotational PM program is your best shot in any Fortune 500 companies because that's more catered towards a fresh someone with less than 2 years of experience. If you're someone with like extensive experience, whether it's engineering experience, like a software engineer or a non-technical behavior, non-technical background, I would recommend applying for more experienced role and use that experience as your strength and carve your stories around some of the experience on the some of your past experience. Because what when someone with 5 or 6 years of experience would perform on day one, where someone who is just fresh out of the grad school with zero experience would require some training. There's a different type of programs that usually Fortune 500 companies have.
Okay, so one more question from the
Mhm.
list, and then we can just move
Sure.
over toward the chat as well as
Sure.
people who are raising a hand. So the last
Yeah,
one is,
that's
how do data science and product
mhm,
management intersect, and what steps
mhm.
can one take to cultivate skills in both areas?
Sure. That's a very good question. So as I mentioned about the KPIs, right? A lot of times these KPIs are at Mastercard, right? We have an entire data science team, which helps us get those insights into the customer. So being very candid, in case if it's a simple SQL query, I can just write it. If it's a very complex SQL query, I can write it, but sometimes I just delegate to my data science engineer. So I just send them a request like, hey, this is what I need. You guys figure it out, give me the data. So if it's a multi-complex query, they are the one who will write it. So, and in case I need something like a data extract from R or Python, they are the one who would it. So all I care about is the end result. So I'll give them the requirement, like this is a customer information. This is the information that I'm looking at. Look at the log, give me the data, and then I do the analysis. Okay,
Thank you
let's
for
jump into
the
the
answers, and then
Q&A.
yeah, we'll just move over to Aditya.
Sure.
Hi, Prateek, Aditya here. So you mentioned of product case study in one of the recruitment rounds. So what exactly is a product case study, and what is being tested in these product case studies for when we apply
Yeah,
for
so
the PM
most
roles?
of the time, most of the time, right? It's mostly a a problem that the team has already solved in the past. So a lot of time they're not looking for a solution. Like the team has already solved that problem. Like I'm just giving you an example. Let's say we're launching a solution in Kenya. So let's say we already launched in Kenya. We have figured out all the challenges that we encountered. So I'm going to give you a detailed case study of how Mastercard wants to launch a new payment program in Kenya. How, as a product manager, you would solve it. So you can look into any case study that you want, and then you walk through it. So what a hiring manager will look for is the framework that you would use. We are not looking for the right answer. We're looking for how you approach that problem, how and how you are solving that problem. The framework, your problem solving skill set, and your analytical ability is what we would be judging. And it's a collaboration, it's a conversation. Every time an interview is not a monologue, it's a conversation. So you can always ask, okay, this is what I'm thinking. Do you think this is? And then if you're going on deviation towards something that we are not looking for, we can always give you hints. Yeah,
Thank you, Prateek. Thank you.
no worries.
So let's do one from the chat.
Sure.
So the question is, how was the transition from B2C to B2B? Also, what are the
Okay.
tools you use for roadmap design? I think that is already, I think you
Yeah.
mentioned
Yeah.
Figma.
We
Yeah.
use, yeah. So okay, so B2C, right? So it was very different. So in Chase, right? For example, we did a lot of user. So we had a. So if you ever seen a crime show, right? There's a thing, right, where FBI goes and interrogate people. Like that's how we had a UX lab, user study lab in Chase, where literally you could they would be we would invite customers, Chase customers, to come to our office and go to that UX lab. And you, as a product manager and some UX folks, we would sit behind the screen and we would give them the prompts and on the monitor, and then we would see the behavior. So that was something that we should do in as a B2C, because we want to see A/B testing. We want to see how they're reacting, whether they would like this. As a B2B, we are interacting with more with the customers, like banks or who have a business problem. So we don't interact with customers anymore. That's the biggest change that I've saw between B2C and B2B. And the transition was normal. As a product manager, your skill sets are always transferable.
I hope that answers your question, Munzir. The next one is, I think Abhishek, you can go ahead.
Thank you. So, Pratik, I had a quick question
Mhm.
regarding the process for issue resolution. So when it comes to resolving an issue, right? So
Mhm.
the product manager's role would be more around identifying which team to contact for a given issue and then trying to understand the timelines for resolving that particular issue, right? And won't delve more into
Mhm.
the technical aspects of it, right? If I'm not wrong.
So obviously there's an SLA for every escalation, right? So we usually have an SLA for any, it's a 2-day SLA depending on the customer. So we really work with our operations team. So we have product operations that helps us uh, solve a particular production issue. And then once we resolve the issue, we send a detailed report of the summary and with the action item. If it's sometimes it's with the Mastercard, sometimes it's with the customer.
Oh, got it. But the onus is on the product manager to come up with a report for what caused the issue.
So we work along with the operations team, right? So it's not just us. We work with the, it's in collaboration with the operations team, which is responsible for business operations. We call it BizOps. BizOps team is responsible for helping us look into the issue, give us the technical support if we need like if we need to go and fix a production issue. So we need engineering capacity for that. So that's something that operations usually have. So they will go and fix a bug if there's a bug identified, and then we go and usually it's a template. Being very honest with you, usually we have a template for any. It's a Mastercard template that we send for any customer report, and then we fill the template with the issue, resolution, time, and what were the steps that was taken. So we, along with the BizOps, own it. It's a co-ownership.
All right, got it. Thank you so much.
Okay, so next one, Pratik, we can take from the chat.
Sure.
So it's from Salman. So the gist of it, it's a big question. So the gist is like he has an experience in business analyst, 5+
Okay.
years, and
Mhm.
currently he's working for a multinational bank. So he has done the work of product owner and product manager, but he doesn't have the official title yet. So he's like, based on these titles, he's applying for product manager roles, but is how is it filtering out because it's a business analyst, because he's a business analyst, or like what ATS and recruiters are like, how they're filtering out and how he can improve.
So in a very in a candid reply, right? Your first filter is the algorithm. Whenever you apply to a job, right, you're not battling against the other candidates. Your first battle is with the algorithm. So make sure you're using the whenever you look so at the job description, use those keywords, because a lot of times the algorithm is trained to pick up those resume using those keywords, and that then only it goes to the hiring manager or the recruiter, or the that's the first filter. Don't even worry about the second step. So I think I would say, um, make update your resume based on those keywords, and make sure that you're in nutshell what the person would look for is, have you done those things, have you like, the title doesn't matter, your responsibility matters. And in responsibility, if there's an alignment, if there's a synergy between the job responsibility and your past experience, then it's a match. If not, then there's no match. I do see a hand raise.
Yeah, from
Yeah.
Gaurang, you can go ahead.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, Pratik, it's me again.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. My question is that like what are the entry level position for this segment? Also, what are the certification industries required from the candidate? As he like I have experience 1.5 as a data analyst, and my vision is to be a product manager in future with milestone one by one. So, what are the key factor I should should kept in my mind for that?
Mhm. So I think in terms of certification, right, you can obviously, there's a lot of certification from, there's something called Scrum Alliance. They have the entire uh, CSPO certification that you can look into, or there's famous product school, or there's a bunch of certification online.
Okay.
In my opinion, certification will not get you an interview call. Like, it's the experience that counts. So whether it's an internship experience, if you can get an internship at a startup because you don't have any product experience, so your most likely candidate would be a startup that can, or you can show your coursework or some of the product courses if you have taken, or some projects that you can show on your resume. Let me, from a hiring manager point of view, right, you have to think about what are the skill. Let's say if I have two resumes, one with the product experience, one with non-product experience, what would you choose?
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, I catch it.
So you want to make sure that you want to get those product experience, whether it's through your coursework, or it's through through internship,
Actually,
or so you have to have something on your resume, right? Because you can have the certification all you want, but unless you have done some work as a product manager, you chances will always be low.
got it, got it.
That's how the reality is, given
Yeah,
especially in this competitive market.
yeah,
Not going to
got it.
sugarcoat it. It's a competitive market right now.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thank you for this.
No worries.
Yeah.
So I guess our time is also up. So there is one more question if you have
Sure.
time.
Sure, definitely have.
Yeah. So there's this question like, can A/B testing be about more than just technical stuff, or is it only for technical things?
I think it's more less on technical stuff actually. You really don't care about how the code is written, right? You care about the output. So the A/B testing is mostly focused on the user experience. Like, nowadays, people don't, like, back the idea was you would design two products and you test it out. Now no one codes it. You do it through a mock screen, and you do it through Envision or Figma, and you basically get the feedback from the customer on the end results, not on the technical side. And then once based on the decision, once you decided, let's say I want to go for A, then you go and build that requirements and build that technical functionality. So it's now at the functional level, not at the technical level. A/B testing. It's
Okay.
never at the technical level.
Yeah. So I hope that answers your question, Apurva. So
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, okay.
No worries.
So I think with this we come to an end for our event. I would like to thank you. Oh.
This is
Yes.
something I always tell, like this too shall pass, guys. So I'm sure you are thinking about applying for more internships and someday full-time jobs. So remember, this too shall pass. Like 2 years from now, you'll be laughing about all the stress that you're taking right now. So remember that it's all about getting one internship offer. So don't lose faith.
Yes.
That's my favorite quote.
Yeah.
Someday, if I ever need to get a tattoo, that's what that's what my wife says.
Yeah. So one of my friend already has this tattoo, so just remembering that.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, I think we can just have one picture with
Sure.
people if they can turn their cameras on.
Yeah, I'm a big Lord of Rings fan. So someone posted Gondorf. I'm a big Lord of Rings. I did the whole New Zealand Lord of Ring tour. So yeah, so whoever that quoted Lord of Rings, thumbs up from my side.
Okay, so Sid, are we good or
Yeah, I guess Pratik is sharing his screen, so
yeah?
Oh, okay.
uh,
Oh, sorry. Let me just stop sharing. Sorry, give me a second.
no problem. You can change the view.
Done. I've stopped sharing.
Great. Come on, people, show up. Superb. Let me quickly take a picture. Yeah, we are good. Thanks, Pratik. It was one
Thank
of
you.
the most
Thanks,
insightful
everyone.
event.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to take me again? Okay, I'll pause.
Yeah, we
Me
all can
too.
do it.
I'll join you guys. Wait.
Or if you want to do Spock, I'm a nerd, so Star Trek.
That's cool. Got it.
I guess I see a lot of sci-fi.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Pratik. It was a
Thanks,
wonderful.
everyone, and it was lovely. Thank you, the product school. It's definitely like, and reach out to me on LinkedIn in case you have anything. And thanks, Ragini, and yeah, thanks, everyone,
Thank you
and
so
good
much.
luck.
Thank you for
Bye.
taking this time out. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone,
guys.
for
Thank
joining. Yeah.
you. Have a good day. Thank you.